Hello and welcome back to Riddle. In our quiz, it's time to look at the design. So we've got our content and let's look at how you can change the colors, different aspects of the styling so that it really matches either your purpose or your brand or both. So go into the creator for that riddle and we've done all the blocks here. We've looked at branching logic down here and now click on this paintbrush symbol to go into the palette. By default, the palette that we have here is called Timeless, and there are other palettes that you can choose from here, for example, Forest, for example, Peachy, and these are palettes that are available for any single riddle. You can also create your own by clicking on Create a Palette, your brand palette, your team palette, whatever it is, and setting everything up that you would want to do in here. We'll go into those details in a moment. What you can also do, as well as creating your own, as well as using a default, is editing an existing default or an existing palette that you've already created. So let's do this as an example. So Timeless is the default, and next to Timeless, click on the three buttons here, and then copy and edit palette. So let's call it Movie Quiz Palette. And within that, we have lots of different aspects that we can change now. Let's go through some of these. The first thing you can do is change the font. By default, it's Inter, and you can either choose a font from the drop-down menu here. You can use your own font, use a Google font, use an Adobe font. For example, if you clicked on Use Your Own Font, so you have your own, use your own font, and you can then use the URL where you host your font. We can also host the font for you if that's easier. Just message us if that's the case. But let's go back to the default for now. So we're going to go back to Inter. Okay, now underneath this, the next thing we can change is block instructions. What that means is that when you have a question, here, for example, it tells you select one, and it's the same for any type or any block. It would tell you or tell the audience what to do. For example, select all that apply or type the answer, whatever it is. And you can disable them here. I prefer to have them off, so I'm going to leave it that way, but you can just enable and disable next to block instructions. The next thing is the block image. So by default, we have the block image here that we've inserted in the block as a blurred background. What that means is it takes the colors from that image and extracts them and creates a blurred background underneath, so that you've got a really subtle way of having those colors there. You can strip that and disable that here, and then it will just be a background color. In this case, it's white because that is the default for that palette, but you can also change that in the colors down here. What you can also do is enable block media as riddle background. What that does is it, as you can see, it takes the image that we inserted and makes it the background for that whole block. Questions, answers, the button at the bottom, everything. So that's really nice if the image that you're using is really a background and just a question of style and coloring and not pertinent for the question you're asking. In our case, we actually need the images sometimes to be the focus. For example, the questions where we had name the movie from the picture. I really want the audience to be able to see the picture clearly. So for this quiz, it's not the right option for me, but I really like using it in some where, it really has this background for the whole thing and not just part of the riddle. So I'll disable that for now and re-enable block image as blurred background down here. Okay, the final thing we can do up here in these settings is change the riddle border radius. By default, it's 24, and this is just about how round the edges are of the four corners of your riddle. It goes from 0, which is then a complete right angle, up to 50, making it much more round. I like the halfway or almost halfway house of 24. So let's keep that there. Then the big section underneath is for all the colors. You can change text colors, background colors, button colors, the footer at the bottom, all sorts of different things. So you can really play with that to your heart's content. Let's just do an example so you can see the effect it has. So for example, let's go to answer background. So that these are all the different answer options. At the moment it's white and it's transparent. I could choose a color that comes from this list of colors here, which automatically appears because these are the colors that are used by that palette. So that's really useful if you don't want to put in a new color up here. For example, okay, you can change the transparency and see all these colors here. You can of course choose one here. You can put your RGBA in here or your hex code in there. Or you can, yeah, as I say, use one of these colors that already exist. So let's do that. Let's take this list and choose this green from the right, originally from the right answer section, but I'm going to use it now for this answer background. Click on apply, and now it's the color for every single answer choice. So, yeah, that's something that you can really play around with and have fun with. I want to put it back to white and transparent. Click on apply each time, and there we go. That's what I want for this quiz here. Underneath all these different color changes, there's a final section, custom CSS. If you've got other elements where you really want to focus on changing one specific thing or something that goes beyond colors and beyond these options at the top, then you can edit here. Click on edit under custom CSS, and here's a space for you to copy and paste or type CSS code and make these changes to your Riddle. So, okay, the sky's the limit here, depending on how much CSS you want to use. We have, on our website, we have some code snippets that you can copy and paste directly into your Riddle. Or you can type your own, as I say. So just to give us an example, let's think about the space in between these different answer options. So I want to imagine that I want to make it even smaller. So I'm going to copy and paste some code into there. Format, click on format code and then save. And then straight away you can see the change that's taking place in the Riddle. You can leave this blank, you can fill this with code, that's up to you. And yeah, something really extra that you can really fine-tune your Riddle to suit your brand. And yeah, I really like playing around with it. But for now, let's leave it at that. So you've got an example. And yeah, we're done taking a look through at the different design settings. If you have any other questions, then feel free to write to us at academy@riddle.com or write to us on our support chat. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.